Welcome to DSEJ Teleclasses, a digital initiative by Directorate of School Education, Jammu. Dear students, I am Mohinder Goswami. Today I am going to discuss with you a very beautiful poem for the students of class 9th. Let's start. At the end of this lesson, students will be able to know about the poet of the poem. They will able to understand the new words in the poem. They will be sensitized about the cutting of trees. They will understand the central idea of the poem, recognize and understand the different literary device in the text. Along with this, they will develop all kinds of skill. That is LSRW. Dear students, in this poem, the poet sensitizes the readers and highlights the fact that trees are living things. He equates trees with humans to convey that trees should not be cut because destroying trees is just like killing a human being. Dear students, in today's class, I will be explaining the poem on killing the tree. This beautiful poem is written by
Jkbose.
He is an Indian poet, playwright, painter, as well as a doctor by profession. He is one of those poets who has subscribed themselves to the green movement, which is involved in an effort to protect the environment. Most of his articles, poems related to the environmental issues, and he tries to create awareness among the people. His poem speaks of a deep concern for nature and exposes man's cruelty to it. Before reciting this beautiful poem, I would like to ask you a few questions. Have you ever planted any kind of tree in your life? Okay, fine. Your answer might be, yes sir, we have planted many kind of trees. And some of you may say, no sir, we have not planted any kind of tree yet. Okay, fine. What you feel after planting a tree? Are you became very happy? Are you became so sad? Okay. Some of you might say, sir, we became very happy. Very good. Very nice. But students, I would like to ask you another questions. What you feel after cutting any kind of tree? Have you ever cut any kind of tree? So some of you again might say, yes sir, we have cut many trees. And some of you may say, no sir, we have not cut any kind of tree. And I simply ask you, what you feel after cutting the trees? What kind of feeling comes into your mind? Now let us discuss first the new words in the poem. The first word which we will see in in this beautiful poem is a jab. You know what is the meaning of this word jab? It means sudden rough blow. Okay, fine. Now students, there is another word is leprous hide. Okay, this word leprous hide is an expression which refers to the bark of the tree, which looks like the skin of a leprosy patient. But just it's an expression which resembles the skin of a leprosy patient. Okay students, now there is another word is hack, which means cut roughly by striking heavy blows. Okay, fine. Another word which we will meet in this beautiful poem is a curl. This beautiful word means a piece of hair which grows or has been formed into a curving. Okay students, fine. Now we have another word, that is twig. What is the meaning of this word twig? It means a small then branch of a tree or bush. Okay students, fine. Now we will see another word in this beautiful poem while reciting, that is bough, a large branch of a tree. Okay, fine. Another word which we will meet in this beautiful poem, which may be a new word to you, is a snapped out. It means clapped out. Okay students, now the last but not the least is another beautiful word in this poem is a wither, which means to become weak or dry. Let us recite this beautiful poem. It takes much time to kill a tree, not a simple jab of the knife will do it. It has grown slowly, consuming the earth, rising out of it, feeding upon its crust, absorbing years of sunlight, air, water, and out of its leprous hide sprouting leaves. So hack and chop, but this alone won't do it. Not so much pain will do it. The bleeding bark will heal, and from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs. Miniature boughs, if unchecked, will expand again to former size. Now the root is to be pulled out of the anchoring earth. It is to be roped, tied, and pulled out, snapped out, or pulled out entirely, out from the earth cave, and the strength of the tree exposed, the source white and wet, the most sensitive hidden for years inside the earth. Then the matter of scorching and choking in sun and air, browning, hardening, twisting, withering, and then it is done. Friends, let us explain this poem in a stanza-wise manner. As far as the first stanza is concerned, I will read it for you and then we will explain it together. It takes much time to kill a tree, not a simple jab of the knife will do it. It has grown slowly, consuming the earth, rising out of it, feeding upon its crust, absorbing years of sunlight, air, water, and out of its leprous hide sprouting leaves. Here in these lines, the poet explains how to kill a tree, right? What is the right method to kill a tree? But he doesn't mean it. He is only being sarcastic here. He is addressing the point to those people who don't have any kind of feelings towards the trees and environment. So he is making some sarcastic remarks, right? Here, if you see the first two lines, so you will see the word jab. What does this word mean? It means blow. It means a rough blow. The poet says that it isn't a simple task to kill a tree. It takes a lot of time. You cannot kill a tree just by hitting it with a knife. Look at the line third. It has grown slowly, consuming the earth, rising out of it. Here a tree grows up, taking a long time. Slowly it comes out of the earth, consumes it. Consuming the earth means using the earth, the water, nutrients, minerals which are present in the soil, and feeding upon its crust. Crust means the upper surface of the earth. What does the crust word means? It means the upper surface of the earth. So after using all the nutrients and water, it starts rising out of the earth and finally comes out, absorbing years of sunlight, air and water. So for many years it absorbs a lot of sunlight, air, water, and that's how it grows up. If you look at the last two lines, and out of its leprous hide sprouting leaves, finally from its bark, from its stems and twigs, leaves start to sprout. Leprous hide means brownish color of the bark. So leprosy is a disease. and a person's skin starts, a discoloration of the skin starts, right? Some patches are formed on the skin. Okay, fine. So he is comparing the bark of the tree, which is brownish, which is little discolored, with a person who suffer with leprosy. So here's all the description given by the poet. Paint the tree as a parasite, and the tree consumes the earth. It eats up the earth nutrients, elements. It feeds upon the earth crust. In other words, it destroys the earth fertility. So hack and choke, but this alone won't do it. Not so much pain will do it. The bleeding walk will heal, and from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs, miniature boughs, which if unchecked will expand again to former size. Let's students now explain these lines. Look at the line 3rd and 4th. Not so much pain will do it. The bleeding walk will heal. Here it will not cause so much pain to the tree. That means if you cut a tree with a knife, it will not cause much pain to the tree. The bleeding walk will heal from close to the ground, will rise curled green twigs. You must have noticed when you hit the bark of a tree with a sharp object, with a knife, a liquid comes out, right? A liquid oozes out of the bark. So he is comparing liquid with the blood. When you hit a human, blood comes out, and when you hit a tree, a sort of liquid comes out. So here the poet says, yes, it bleeds for some time, but the bark heals itself, and again small green colored twigs come out of its stems, miniature boughs. Now students, if you once again look at these lines, and from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs, miniature boughs, which if unchecked will expand again to former size. Here students, in these lines, if you see that poet says that again small green colored twigs come out of its stems, miniature boughs. Small, very small leaves, stems again start coming out, which if unchecked will expand again to the former size. What does this word former mean here? Former means previous. Okay students. Now students, look at the stanza 3rd of this beautiful poem. No, the root is to be pulled out of the anchoring earth. It is to be roped, tied and pulled out, snapped out, or pulled out entirely out from the earth cave, and the strength of the tree exposed, the source white and wet, the most sensitive hidden for years inside the earth. If you look at the first 3 lines of this beautiful poem of stanza 3rd, so you will see that in these lines the poet is saying that it is wrong method to kill a tree, to hit it with a knife. If you really want to kill a tree, you have to pull out the root out of the anchoring earth. What does the anchoring earth here means? Anchoring earth means the earth which is providing support to the tree. Thus the tree is standing on the earth, and if you want to kill it, you have to pull it out of the earth. Now students, look at the line 4th. It is to be roped, tied and pulled out, snapped out or pulled out entirely out from the earth cave. Here in these lines, the poet says that in order to kill the tree, its root has to be pulled out from the earth, which act as its anchor. It has to be tied with a rope and pulled out with a powerful snap. It has to be pulled out entirely from the earth, where it has formed a cave for itself. Dear students, here the word cave, cave is used by wild animal. As you already know this thing, that cave is used by wild animal as home. In the similar manner, earth cave is used by the tree. It keeps the roots safe, right, by holding on onto. But if you want to kill it, you have to pull it entirely from its from its earth cave. Only then the tree will die. Otherwise, whatever you do, you will not able to kill the tree. It will heal again. Now, students, look at the last four lines of this stanza. And the strength of the tree exposed the source white and wet, the most sensitive hidden for years inside the earth. Here in this line, the poet says that when you pull out the tree from the earth, exposed its strength means all the strength of the tree is gone to it. The source white and wet. The source here means the roots are white and they are always inside the earth. The most sensitive hidden for years inside the earth. That means the most sensitive part of the tree is its roots. If you pull out the roots, automatically the tree will die and it will not heal again, right? So he says the most sensitive part of it to be pulled out, and there finally the tree will dies. Otherwise, all your efforts goes waste. Now, students, if you look at the last stanza of this beautiful poem, then the matter of scorching and choking in the sun and air, browning, hardening, twisting, withering, and then it is done. So, when the root is exposed, it starts decaying, browning, hardening, twisting, withering, and then it is done. The color start changing when the root is exposed, to the sun, air, and these things. So at that time the color starts changing. It gets brownish and then blackish. The wood start changing its color. The wood starts getting harder and it becomes very brittle. If you can also break it. Now, students, we have completed this beautiful poem. Now it's time to discuss the literary device, or you can say poetic device. The first poetic device which we will discuss here is a rhyme scheme. So as we have discussed that there is no rhyme scheme in this poem. It is free verse. It has no rhyme or rhythm. Students, the next poetry device which we will discuss is in the stanza 1 is a personification. You know what is personification? Personification means the figure of speech which personifies animals, ideas, and inanimate objects with human traits and qualities is called personification. In other words, you can say personification is giving human characteristics to inanimate objects and animals. Let us now discuss this personification, with an example. In the very first line of the stanza, the poetic device used is, personification, and it is, it is written there. It is written, it takes much time to kill a tree. Now, if you see here, the poet is not saying to cut the tree. Instead, he is saying to kill a tree because he treats a tree as a person. So here you can say the poetic device is used by the poet is a personification. Okay, students, fine. Now, student, the next poetic device is enjambment. You know what does this word enjambment means? It means running lines from one to the next without using any kind of punctuation marks. So if you students see the first stanza of this beautiful poem, so you will see the words, underline words, that is knife, knife, ground, feeding, absorbing, hide. So all these words, if you watch these words minutely, you will find that after these words there is no punctuation marks has been used. So when in a poem there is no punctuation marks after the end of line and the line continues to the next, so it is called enjambment. Now, student, the next poetry device used by the poet is a metaphor. The figure of speech in which one thing is compared with another without using the word like and as. When we talk about simile, so there is the use of word like and as. Okay, but when we say metaphor, there is indirect comparison. comparison there, but it is indirect comparison. It refers to the things that have similar characteristics. So if you see the word leprous hide, here the underlined word leprous hide poet has used is as a metaphor. So here the poet is comparing the brownish colored, the discolored bark of the tree with the discolored skin of a person who suffers with leprosy. So he is comparing a human being skin which is discolored with the discolored bark of the tree. So it is called metaphor. So here the poet has make the use of metaphor while comparing a bark of tree with the skin of a person. So that's why poet has made use of this. Now students, the next poetic device used by the poet is alliteration. What does the word alliteration means? Alliteration means the repetition of a consonant sound in the beginning of the sentence. So you just see the underlined words. The bleeding walk. Here the bleeding walk, b sound is repeated, which is a consonant sound. So it is called alliteration because the word, it is written bleeding bark. The b sound is repeated, so it is an alliteration. Now students, let us discuss the central idea of this beautiful poem. On Killing a Tree is a poem with a hard-hitting approach to the destruction of nature. It deals with the cutting of a tree, which is deliberately, mentioned as killing by the poet. In this poem, the poet sensitizes the reader and highlights the fact that trees are living things. He equates trees with humans to convey that trees should not be cut because destroying tree is just like killing a human being. So it is criticism, of human callousness and cruelty. So poet use this central idea as a scarcetic remarks. Now students, let us discuss the summary of this beautiful poem. So as far as summary is concerned, the poet says that if you wish to kill a tree, it takes a lot of time. A simple jab of knife can't kill a tree. A tree grows up by getting food and other nutrients from the earth. It absorbs sunlight, air and water for years and becomes very strong. Now student, the poet says, if we try to hack and chop it, it does not feel much pain. Its bleeding bark heals very soon. Small twigs begin to shoot. Soon they become very big and strong. Now the poet says that the real strength of a tree lies in its roots. If we want to kill a tree forever, its roots should be pulled out completely. Now students, they should be left in open to withering in sun and choke in the air. Thus after a long process of changing shapes and colors, we can say that a tree is killed. Now students, let us revise this beautiful lesson in the form of question answers. What you need to do here, you have to revise this lesson once again, what you have learned today, and then you have to answer with me so that we can see that whether you have understood or not. And now I will ask you some of the questions and you give me answers and we will discuss together so that we will answer. Now students, let us discuss the first question's answer. When was the poet of this poem born? So as we have already discussed that the poet of this beautiful poem was born on 1940. Now the second question, which is his place of birth? So we have already discussed this in today's lesson that he was an Indian poet and he was born in a beautiful city of Mumbai. Now students, let us discuss the question number 3. Name the 3 famous books of poetry written by him. Means written by the poet. So students, we have not discussed this in these lessons, but I would like to clear here that the famous books which he has written are How Do You Withstand, Body and Mirroring. These are the three beautiful books of poetry written by him. Now the question number 4. Name the three books of plays written by him. Dear students, the three famous books written by him are Princess, Swaska and Mr. Bahram. Now let us discuss the other question. Now students, let us give the meaning of new words. The first word is jab, which we have already discussed. It means sudden rough blow. The second word is the expression leprous hide means. So dear students, we have already discussed that the expression leprous hide refers to the bark of the tree which looks like the skin of a leprosy patient. Now students, there is another word, the word hack. The word hack means cut roughly by striking heavy blows. Fine. Now the next word, the word twig. The word twig means, a small thin branch of a tree or bush. When come to the next word, the word wither means. The word wither means to become weak and dry. Okay students. Now students, another question is what is personification? So as we have already discussed that personifications is the figure of speech which personifies animals, ideas, inanimate objects with human traits and qualities is called personification. In other words, personification means giving human characteristics to inanimate objects and animals. So dear students, we have discussed this in this beautiful poem when the poet says it takes much time to kill a tree. So he treats, he used the word kill instead of cut, because why he used the word cut, because he treats a tree as a human being. So that's why the poet has used in that sentence, personification. Friends, let us discuss the question number 10. What is enjambment? We have already discussed that the word enjambment means running lines from one to the next without using any kind of punctuation marks. So we have discussed this in the example. It takes much time to kill a tree, not a simple jab of knife. So will do it. So we have seen this in this example that knife, gown, earth, feeding. These words, are used, but after these words there is no use of punctuation marks. We have some of the questions which are discussion based. So we have discussed this already in the this poem. The poet says that killing is not an easy. Do you agree? So we have discussed in this poem that the poet has give us so many examples that killing of a tree is not so easy as we think. It is not the jab of a knife. A knife cannot kill a tree because it heals soon. Question number 12. As far as this question is concerned, so it is based on your knowledge that what are the environmental hazards and that your city face. You just think about it and write down some of the lines about this. Friends, let us discuss the question number 13. The question number 13, in what way felling of trees is an environmental hazard? So you already know that trees are connected with the environment, and if trees are not there, and that means it stops bringing the rain, and it brings drought, and it brings soil erosion. So you can write so many points on this. Now the next question is write a report of 300 word on global warming. So you know that cutting of trees brings pollution, and that indirectly and directly bringing the global warming. So you just write down this also in your notebook by considering each and every points which are connected with the global warming. Now students, we have completed this beautiful topic, and now it's time for home assignment. You just read this beautiful poem from your textbook and try to answer the questions which are provided there. Okay, hope you will be able to answer all of these questions now. And the second assignment which I am going to give you is write down any 5 lines in the form of poem on the word tree. And friends, we have completed this beautiful poem, and I hope you have enjoyed it. Now I would like to request you to just open your textbook and read this poem once again and enjoy it. With this, I would like to thank you.